If there's something that you are trying to get engaged with, that you see yourself doing, that you have a envision of doing, bet on yourself. Don't count yourself out. Be your number one supporter. Be your biggest cheerleader. Put all the coins in yourself. Do everything you can do to propel yourself forward to that. Because without it, who else is going to believe in you?
Welcome to Life Chapters Podcast with Luis Vega.
Welcome to Life Chapters. My name is Luis Vega, and today's special guest is Antonio Johnson. He's a occupational therapist, entrepreneur, and founder of Bright CC. There you have it. Antonio, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm extremely excited for this because every time we have a conversation at coffee or just anywhere, conversations are very powerful on anything that is shared. So I'm glad that you're here. Tell me a little bit about you and what you do currently.
All right. So a little bit about myself. So, Of course, I am Antonio Johnson. I'm an occupational therapist now. I'm also the CEO and founder of Bright CC, which is brilliant, reliable, innovative, transparent clinical consulting. And ideally what the design is I help encourage and coach veterans through their VA claim process to get them from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. Long story short is I'm the person to kind of help you take all those things that you're dealing with healthcare wise, put it in really good, solid words. So when you go meet that evaluator, you know exactly what to say so you can get your rating.
Why did you decide to start it?
I would say like every other veteran, I ran through a roadblock when I first got out of the Navy in 2019. Mm-hmm. I really wasn't familiar with the VA process, but I had been in healthcare my whole time, been in the military. So the medical things made sense to me. But of course, like the process is new to all of us. So when I went through my own experiences, I tried VSOs, which they were helpful. They kind of taught me how to file. I used a few private companies that had really small fees, mm-hmm. and they really taught me the paperwork. And then I believe I met a captain one day on a flight, and he was talking about the Federal Code of Regulation. I was like, what is that? And he was like, it's the federal government's explanation of how all benefits work. You should read it. And so I read it.
Oh.
And that kind of like started the ball rolling of, hey, I think I have an understanding of how this process works. So I tried it on myself, got myself to 100%, didn't take any stress. I felt comfortable. Then I tried another person. Mm-hmm. And originally I was like, let's do an LLC. Let's start with a small business. And I would say probably like 3 months into developing, something felt weird in my stomach. It just didn't feel right. And I think me knowing that there was other companies did the same thing. There's loan shark companies. There's a lot of companies out there that are willing to take advantage of veterans mm-hmm. just to get access to their benefits. And that wasn't my purpose. My purpose was just to educate and help. And so I did a little bit more thinking, looked into a nonprofit route, went all through all the process, and today we're here. Nonprofit organization to help veterans.
And I'm glad that you're doing that and that you mentioned about your experience in the transition, because a lot of the times veterans don't know what the next step is. So it's true. Like, hey, here's your DD-214, bye.
Figure it out.
What's going to happen next?
Exactly.
I was in the same shoes until one person told me to start and pointed me in the right direction. Not as you help people, because, or the veterans that you help, like you walk them through everything. And that is so much help without stress. Now, how long have you been doing that, you said?
I would say, we're in 2026, so maybe about 5 years now.
5 years?
Yeah.
Now, doing so, has there been an experience of someone that transitioned and still like a memory that sticks with you?
I would say probably my very first actual mm-hmm. real client, which was my aunt, believe it or not. So my aunt was my very, very first client. And I didn't even know she was in the service at one point. And without spilling too much about her service information, when I went home to Georgia one year, after I had came up with the concept, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go home for a little bit. I went home and I was like talking to family, and she was like, I was in the Army. And I was like, really? This company, let me see if I can help you. And there wasn't really a lot of information to pull from her, but just hearing her story and me knowing, you know, her being my aunt and what she went through while she served, I've just felt like, okay, this is my opportunity to really test myself. It's not only just helping somebody I love, but it's truly knowing what the information I know could do for this person. I grew up in this area. I know what it's like. I know what the financial gain could do. And so I tested myself. Could I really get her to 100% off the first try, really looking through her case, listening to her about her medical appointments, really just giving my all. So whenever she called, I picked up the phone. When she sent the email, I read it. When she had questions, I took all the time just to research to find her an answer. And sure enough, we got her to 100%. And I think from her being that very first person, it was almost like, it was like the ultimate test. Either you're going to do this or you're not going to do this. Other than it being a stranger, which, you know, with strangers, you can easily push yourself away. It was someone I cared about. So I don't think I could have had the courage to look her in her face when I initially told her, hey, I can help you. And then just because of life, maybe laziness, maybe fear, lack of confidence would have pushed me to not assist. So I think, like I said, just having her as that initial person probably had the biggest impact of all. The true foundation was that first real building block that I need to say, I think I can do this.
Yeah. And I bet she appreciated it so much.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how long was she out before you did this?
She got out of the Army, I think, in the early 90s.
What? So you can still fight it for
Yeah.
those people that, you know, have been out for years
For
and years and years. You can still
years.
fight it and do something.
You can. If you did 14 days in boot camp, you can get benefits. I've helped people like that.
Really?
2 weeks.
Huh.
2 weeks.
How does that work? Because I know you read. I know you read it. I know you read all the policies.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Tell me.
So to kind of like give a really quick overview, I'll use PTSD because to me, PTSD is by far the most convenient and simplified condition that we all are somewhat exposed to, whether we believe it or not. When you go from being a civilian and you go to boot camp, that's a whole traumatic experience. And everything after that becomes an experience. Everything you go through in boot camp is something that you never had been exposed to prior to going. And just what you can recall in your mind, those unwanted thoughts, 2 weeks is enough time to be able to say, I went through these things, and now that it's over with, I still think about them. They're unwanted. They give me depression. They give me a lack of confidence. I can't do the things in life that I want, all because of those simple 2 weeks of exposure in boot camp.
Yeah.
That's enough to prove it. You were in boot camp, right? You can articulate it. You have friends and family, people that you work with that can say how you act now. You can talk about, you can actually prove and show that even though you may be this person who is very outgoing, but now you don't have those same skills, that's all can be proven based off written documentation. I think a lot of veterans get stuck in the process that they have to go through this lengthy process in time, or that they have to be exposed to some significant traumatic experience. Boot camp is traumatic enough, believe it or not.
I did not know that, because what I've been told, you know how it is, someone that you served with or someone that already got out and did the process, and they're told that you have to submit your paperwork within a year or within 2 years, whatever that is. But you're saying that if they serve 2 weeks, for example, in boot camp, they can still do something.
You still can
about that.
You can.
And even your aunt in the 90s, and you still got her 100%. Did she apply though? Do you have to apply?
Yes.
And so let me frame it this way. If someone, let's say in the 90s, got out and never applied for any benefits, they can still chat with you and do something about it, or do they have to have submitted something back then?
No, they can literally wake up today, 2026, and say, you know what? I think I want to file for VA disability benefits and just go through the process. Now, will it be the easiest process if you would have did it 20, 30 years ago? No, it won't be the easy process, but it's possible. It's truly possible. I think as veterans, we're like the gatekeepers to what we experience and what we're exposed to. And we go through this phase of of it's just kind of like it's personal information. It's like your social security number.
Yeah.
You don't want to share it. You know, you share it at the time where you really need to, the most convenient. So I think we all have to get comfortable whenever that time comes to just talk about what you were exposed to, what you went through, what you saw.
Yeah.
Everybody's job, everybody's leadership, everybody's adventure and journey wasn't like sugarcoating. It wasn't rainbows and flowers. There is at some point some type of traumatic experience. Don't be afraid to tap into it and speak about it if you really want to open those doors. Even for someone who served decades ago.
Yeah. That is massive. And I think everyone, if you're listening and maybe you got a rating of some sort, or maybe no rating at all of Antonio's information is going to be right below Bright CC. You guys can, check them out and, just chat and see what can be done. But that is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it gets. I've heard some really crazy stories or scenarios where veterans really didn't think that they had access to VA benefits.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really about you taking your situation and your disorder, your condition, your injury, and articulating it to what the VA considers rateable. Sometimes it's just articulation of diagnosis, of words or symptoms. And if you don't read the Federal Code of Regulations, it's kind of like a blind guessing game.
True.
You're guessing.
Yeah.
And some people are lucky enough, they just said the right things. And others, they don't say enough things. Some people, they say too much stuff. So I think just having all this exposure that I've gone through, just taking the time to hear each veteran out, taking every case, doing analysis, using my OT skills.
Yeah.
To now I can sit down with any veteran, and I'm not saying I'm the guru. I'm not saying I'm bigger than a VSO. What I'm saying is I can help you take what you're experiencing as a veteran, what you were exposed to, the medical conditions that you have, and the barriers to occupational things that you like to do, and help you put all that together to give you a better fighting chance.
That is so much easier if I was the client, for example, because I don't know how to put together all of those things. I'm not going to read the federal code. It's just like reading the tax code manual.
Exactly.
Who's going to do it?
Someone like me.
Exactly. Right? Someone like that does it, but like 99% of people, they're not going to read it. There's that one person that's their job to do it, and they're going to do it.
Exactly.
Or they just want to provide a service back,
just a service
to all those veterans in your case, to get them some of those benefits. Now,
not just veterans though, dependents as well, because it's
tell me more.
It's expanded the knowledge beyond that. So VA benefits just becomes just a portion of it. I always look at it like the building foundation. We all want income. We all want money, right? We all need that to just sustain life. But then it goes beyond that. It goes beyond how do you really maximize your college educations. I've been to grad school twice. I have 2 master's degrees. I'm working on another degree to get my doctorate degree. And it's all been using my military benefits to push me towards that. Buying a home, understanding how to buy a home, how to buy versus flip versus, traditional, the different, being able to really identify the locations that you want to live in, starting a business. How do you really start a business? How do you start a nonprofit? How do you put yourself in that situation as a veteran to really stand out so your organization takes off the ground running and you're not spending 5, 6, 7 years trying to do the foundational things? I try to look at it like VA benefits is the bread and butter because it's the day-to-day thing. It's the easy thing. But for those veterans who have other ambitions, I tackle those as well. And the last thing is it's all free services. No charge. You'll never get an invoice, a late payment fee, anything.
That is beautiful. I'm glad that you're doing information. The lack of information is what keeps a lot of people stuck.
I agree.
And not knowing what they could be benefiting from in any aspect of life. And you are opening your services, your doors, for all of those that want to take advantage and actually start doing some research with you.
That's it.
Man.
Invest in yourself.
Exactly.
I think the biggest thing I try to leave veterans with is that you feel empowered. So when you go to a VSO, when you go through a claims eval, when you're filling out paperwork, when you're talking to your regular doctor, you feel confident enough that you can articulate what you're going through and how that can transition into VA benefits.
And you help them do all of that, all the practice runs and everything.
And if I don't have the answers, I'm so comfortable with myself telling you, hey, this is outside of my scope, but let me refer you to someone else that can continue this ball in this process.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. So I'm not trying to be this gatekeeper where I have you in the headlock and you're hanging out with me for the rest of your life. No, I'm supposed to be a quick stop shop, give you information, give you tools. You keep it moving and pushing until you reach your ultimate goal.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how'd you get into all of this? I know you mentioned earlier that you were in the Navy. How did the Navy happen?
The Navy. So the Navy pretty much happened like everybody else. You want to kind of venture out at some point in your life and do something courageous. Me, I was 21. I grew up in South Georgia. And I think for me personally, I always like to reframe it as I hit rock bottom very quick. I had went to college already. I flunked out my second year just because I got into life. I had a kid at the time, and I was just trying to be a dad and just focus on so much. And there came a point in time where my real world came crashing down. My kid came out not to be my kid. I flunked out of school. I lost my job. And I kind of saw how things were starting to spiral out of control. And I really had to ask myself, was I okay with waking up to this for the rest of my life? And what the potential of the rest of the life could be like. And then I also asked myself, you could just join the Navy. Not permanently. It wasn't meant to be a 20-year thing. That's why I only did 11.
Yeah.
It was just enough time to figure out what's next. So it was kind of like a given to me. Go for it. I went to recruiters. Told them what job I wanted. I wanted to be in healthcare. It was easy. I was picked as a corpsman. I went to boot camp, went to corps school. I went to surg tech school to learn how to be a surgical assistant. And man, I just took off on my naval career. I've done all kind of surgical cases, from C-sections with delivering babies to total knees, total hips, face reconstruction, liposuction, lipoma removals, you name it. I've done them all. But that kind of gave me the courage to know that I think healthcare is my calling. And as I was getting out of the Navy, I was thinking, hey, I think I want to be a surgeon. I think I want to be in dentistry. That's dental. That's my space. I feel more comfortable in it. And just so happens, I get out, I get a typical job. I'm working at a pediatric therapy clinic, and my son's diagnosed with autism. And I kind of had a come to me moment. Do I want to go pursue what I want in life, or do I kind of find something that I could be more beneficial to my son? And that's where the thing of OT came from. So I kind of dropped dentistry, focused more on OT, went to OT school, and that kind of helped me build my VA nonprofit business even more, because just a whole OT and veterans kind of connected the whole birth of the practice and skill during like the First World War. So it's like, what's the coincidence? Wanting to be a dentist to wanting to be an occupational therapist, thinking about my son, and sure enough, it just tied back to me personally as a veteran.
Man, it's how life just does its thing.
Yeah.
Hitting rock bottom, different things just popping left and right, some true, some not that true. But you chose healthcare when you spoke to the recruiter. So healthcare has always been in your scope, or how did that come?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can just recall back as being a kid, from me breaking my foot in a service elevator to just having asthma, growing up with asthma, and always being at the doctor, always needing some type of medical professional near around. And so I think subconsciously it was in the back of my mind, just like, I don't think I grew up thinking about, hey, what do I want to be when I grew up? I just was living life as a kid, and things and life was coming. But when I really had the time to sit down and think and really pick something out, healthcare just came out naturally. I didn't have to think. And I remember the recruiter asking, there's a few jobs you can list. What do you want to do? And I just naturally just blurted out, I want to be in healthcare.
What are your top three? Healthcare, healthcare, healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare, Yeah, healthcare.
That's awesome though, because doing that, becoming a corpsman, you did a bunch of things
Yeah.
that brought you to who you are now. You know, and you have like your last program that you're working on. I'm not gonna say your last one. I'm sure there's gonna be many more that are gonna come, because it's you seem like the person that always wants to get better,
Yeah, I agree.
knowledge wise, because you want to bring it back and give it to everybody else that might need that type of service or knowledge that you have.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely have become a lifelong student. I've come to that term. So whether it's another degree, whether it's a certification, whether it's a certificate, it's something educational that I can not only just use for myself, but I can give back to someone else and be like, this might be vital and be something useful for yourself. And I think so too, at the end of the day, it allows me to get over the thing where I felt like I failed in college at one point, because I did. I flunked out.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that. It's like, I just flunked out. But right now, you have all these degrees, certifications, everything. Who would have thought? Like, for a split second, if you didn't mention that again, I kind of like forgot about that. Because that was when you were 21.
Yeah.
That's such a long time ago.
That's true. Such a long time ago. I think, you know what? I think it stays with me because it's that reminder that at any given point, you can fall from grace. You can lose that thing that you're good at, or the thing that you're passionate about, or the thing that keeps you driving and going. So I think me always thinking back, at some point, you flunked at this, you failed at this. Don't take today for granted, because any given point, the past could catch up.
Yeah.
So always stay on your toes, always push forward, always be willing to take the time to just continue to advance. Because if I don't think I don't know how I would survive if I failed the way I failed back then.
Yeah. And you've been mentioning a lot of like flunks and ups and downs throughout your entire journey, Navy, now. Is there an event that truly challenged you and almost broke you, Antonio?
Yeah, getting out. I'll be honest. I think every veteran goes through it. I don't know if every veteran says it out loud, but I will say getting out was probably the second hardest challenge in my life, aside of being a parent. And the reason why is because I had a plan. I mapped out a plan. I wasn't someone who just got out. I planned it out. I had it all mapped out, and nothing went according to the plan. And so it was almost like, you know, for sports fans, you know, a quarterback and him being able to see the defense and trying to think of an audible, but, you know, so much is going on, like, which audible do I pick? And that was going on with me. Like, I got out and I thought I had it planned out, and when nothing went according to plan, it was like, oh snap, this is real. And I can't go back to the Navy.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick other things. I put everything into this one mission. And so I just really think taking some time to just take a step back and be like, all right, I'm in a real life pickle. And how do I come out of this? And I'm really grateful for having a really supportive wife and really understanding kids that always, when I feel like I'm down, they are there to pick me up. And I got other family members, of course, but them being the core people surrounding me, when I was going through that transition, a lot of mental health stuff, a lot of confidence. I lost lack of confidence, which I had never really experienced in my life. I think they kind of lifted me and kept me going to that troubled time. It went from a really hard, troubled time to a time I could focus on me and really be like, all right, what is it that you are trying to do? Not for everybody else, but for you. So that was my most struggling time, I would say, that I can think of outside of being a parent. But at the same time, it was the most reflecting time I had as an adult, probably.
Yeah. I know you mentioned your wife, your kids, you know, family members supporting you and through that transition, because that transition, we always want the transition 2 years, 3 years, you know, ahead. We're like, oh, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get out, right? I'm not gonna sign up again. But when the day comes that you just handed and you're like, so what now? You've had all these structure, being told what to do, where to be, and everything.
Then it stops. It just stops.
And I didn't think how that could be very troubled for a lot of us.
A lot of us.
Because everybody when you say you had a plan, I'm assuming most people, they want to have some sort of plan because we've been told you got to plan everything for the mission to have success. So we do plan it, but you said it didn't go as planned. What did you plan and what happened?
So the plan was, of course, to come to California. I was going to finish my bachelor's degree, right? Which that went according to plan. That was not a problem. Getting into finishing my dental prereqs, the GRE, finding a local school, getting into dentistry, finding a dental job, still using my surgical skills that I had learned from the Navy. It's going to be just a smooth transition. No problems. And then I got out and I got a dental job to start off, and it was horrible. Wasn't the same. The job was the same. You wear scrubs, you help clients, you prepare sets and do everything that you do in dentistry or oral surgery. But the camaraderie and the people wasn't there. It was completely different. The management, the leadership style was different. So I was like, okay, it's a little weird. So I backed off from that job. And I said, all right, there's a lot of places in San Diego with dentistry and oral surgery. I'll just fill out a bunch of applications and wait. Let's say about 2 months went by and no one responded. And then I started to be like, okay, this is not what I planned. And I still got the feeling of wanting to go to dental school and push forward through that. But as far as the working, and I need money and I need to be able to provide for my family, I just want to feel like I'm doing something. My window felt like it was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I did have small interviews off and on, but I couldn't find a connection or the pay was too low. And then I caught myself like, hey, you gotta make an audible, bro. You can't do this for 6, 7, 8, 9 a year, months, a year. Can't do that. I need to do something now. So that was kind of like where the plan fell apart. And I want to be honest, I did research. I truly looked up schools that are from here all the way up to LA, how much time, the traffic, the requirements, the job market. San Diego has a really big, heavy dentistry job market, but also keeping in mind what the competition is like. So with me doing all that planning, all that research, to come out here and when I really put boots on ground, is when reality kicked in. And that's where I start to feel like, oh man, the plan is not going the way I thought. And if I don't make a change soon, I don't know how I'm gonna sustain just being out here. I went from Beaufort, South Carolina, which I'm pretty smart. I have stationed all over the East Coast. I've been out here before. I was stationed out here before. I got the difference in like lifestyle and in the economy. But when you're in it and there's no other option but for you to move forward and figure it out, it's either you're going to break or you're really going to do something. And so, yeah, it didn't go according to plan.
But now that plan, or that failure of plan, if you want to put it that way, made you find other paths that developed into helping your kid starting bright to help more people. Because what if you just got like a good job in a dentistry department?
It's true.
Did you want to pursue more trainings, more degrees? You know, all of those things, because we want to settle for something at some point, because that's our goal. That's like, hey, I want to be this person. But then maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
I agree.
So that goes away in the failure, right? In the failure route. But then you find other things that you're like, should I be doing that? My kid might benefit from that.
There you go.
Let me do it.
You know what? You know something I really pulled from it too that I can reflect back on? I think when I got out, my plan was all about comfortability. It was all about everything that I had been through in the Navy and how I could comfortably transition to something else and still process forward. So if I had to give any advice to any veteran out there, I would say don't just go with comfortability. Actually go with your gut feeling, go with your heart. Go with that thing you've always wanted to do. Because to me, it's a restart. We get a fresh start to be anything in the world, and we got a lot of resources to push it. It's just about how and when you utilize them.
Yeah.
So if you are transitioning out, or you've already transitioned out, and I'm not saying quit your job. Jeez, that's not what I'm saying. But you do have like this distinct taste in your mouth for what you do. Dig deep inside and ask yourself, what would you do for free in this world to bring you happiness? And if there's a job, go pursue it. We got one life. I enjoy what I do, and I think I'm happy the way things transitioned out, because I wake up every day and I do the things that I love to do. Forget how much money I make.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do every day. It makes me happy.
I want to go back to that point of following your gut. Because if you serve 1 term, 2, 3, 5, 100 terms in the military, we are comfortable doing that job, that leadership job, that healthcare job, any kind of job that you had in the military, and you create this plan. Once you transition, I'm going to do the same thing. Everybody's going to take me because I have experience.
There it goes.
It might not be what I like, but I'm going to get the big bucks. But we don't love it.
True.
We start resenting the environment. It's just a paycheck to us. But when we can transition from that and fully transition into the person that we are supposed to be, what we love doing without even getting paid, now you can be someone that creates impact by resetting yourself.
It's true.
Man,
That
is
is
so
the
good.
ceiling.
Exactly. That is good. That is, see what I'm saying? Every single time we have conversations, this guy is just, throwing bombs left and right. But Antonio, what stage of your life are you currently in?
I would say I am in the stage of my life where I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I can actually say I'm happy. Mm-hmm. I have rough days. Everybody has rough days. But I can say every day I wake up in my skin, I'm happy that the skin that I wake up in.
Yeah.
And I think moving forward, everything else is just a fantasy, man. It's just additional. It's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It took me to 38 to find like true happiness in the inside. Like I said, there are days where, you balance life, right? And things piss you off, or you might not be excited about that decision or the opportunity that you didn't get. But when you really go home and you sit down and you reflect and you look around, man, it's all pure happiness. I'm at a space 10 times higher than what I started. Can't complain.
Yeah. There's no reason to complain.
Nope.
There's always things that are not going to go in our favor, but it's just one little thing. And most of the time, if we allow that little decision that you don't agree with dictate how you're going to feel your entire day or the rest of your life, it's not worth it.
It's not.
Just let it happen for think about it for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so on and so forth, but get over it. How can you come back and get the decision that you want?
Exactly.
I really like that. Now, throughout your entire journey, Antonio, has there anyone that you can recall that truly helped you, mentored, guided you throughout your life?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's been several mentors in and out. I would say most recently, probably within the past 3 years, Dr. Evans, who's a professor at the University of St. Augustine. She's an occupational therapist as well. She's been an OT for over 30 years. Dr. Evans, I love you, by the way. The reason why I picked her very first as someone as far as a mentor is because from a civilian standpoint, she was that person that showed me that not only that I could be a successful occupational therapist, but I can be a successful business owner. Outside of having a master's in occupational therapy, I have one in healthcare administration, which is, I would say, is a cousin to an MBA.
Yeah.
So understanding business from a healthcare, leadership, policies, organization, staffing. I really wanted to kind of combine the rest of my skills together, and her having a doctorate in healthcare administration, and she's had over 30 practices in like 20 states. She's helped doctors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, nurses, nurse practitioners. Her just having that vision was someone I needed in my corner to kind of help me as I continue to build. And she doesn't have a military affiliation. She built this as a civilian.
Wow.
And to me, that's inspiring. Like, I feel like I have resources, so I can kind of like have something to help boost me. But to know someone that truly built everything from the ground up, no resources, no funding, just will and intelligence. Like, it was like a no-brainer to me. I had to have her in my corner. So I appreciated the things that she taught me in school and the things that she's been able to teach me since I've been out and graduated.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Evans.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot to freely give everything that you have experienced throughout everything, ups and downs, to someone else and let them avoid some of those failures.
Of course.
Win faster than you did. Being able to humble yourself and be like, hey, Antonio, you're going to be great. These are the steps. This is the foundation that you need to do to be successful.
It's true, man. So I have one more.
Go for it.
So this next one, I really didn't think of, it really didn't hit me as a mentor, probably until you just kind of asked me. I'm going to have to say my wife. And I'm going to explain why. So I'll use Dr. Evans first from a professional and education perspective, right? It's what's happening currently in my life that's going to benefit me moving forward. I say my wife is more from a personal and spiritual perspective. My wife is probably the most in tune person that I know as far as just peace. It's all about peace. Everything is peace. Everything's the peace route. It takes a lot to get the aggression, and when it comes, it's almost validated. It's like, all right, you got her there. It's justifiable. But before I met her, I would say I had a lot of chaos in the inside. I'm just trying to deal with me as a person and things that I've been through, trauma and experiences, and trying to just align it so I can make better decisions for myself, push myself to the direction that I am now. And from the moment that I met her, not being my wife, to today, I feel like I can look back at countless moments and I've learned something. She's taught me something about being a better version of me, being a better dad, being a better husband, being a better person in society. All those things that I had soaked up as a kid, kind of from my environment, the things that made me who I am. She taught me how to replace them with other things, to like build upon it. And I don't think that would have been possible without her. So I don't think she knows it, because I've never probably said this to her at all. But yeah, I think she is another mentor of mine, because as I continue to go through this life, I see myself transitioning to just a more grounded, solid person. And I didn't just wake up like that. It took an influence from another person. Unfortunately, that person is who I see every single day.
Yeah.
So
she is a mentor. She's been by your side. How did you meet her?
In the Navy.
Okay. So she's also a Navy?
Yeah. So my wife retires this year, actually, a couple months away, and it's 20 years is done. Retirement.
20 years.
And then it's on to the next thing.
Now you can help her with the transition, right?
Exactly.
That is so cool, because her being in tune with herself, knowing who she is and how she wants to be perceived by other people, and at the same time influencing greatly on you, and being patient.
Yeah.
Because what you mentioned, there was a lot of chaos going on before, and then for her to stay by your side, become that wife, and help you in every stage of your life to the person that you have become right now.
Yeah.
Takes a lot.
Takes a lot. I'm a lot to deal with. I mean, I smile, I cut jokes, I throw these amazing dreads around.
Yeah,
but
it's like
I can be a lot at times, and I think it takes a really solid, grounded individual to kind of like sustain that, take that energy, and repel it back, but in a positive way. So I will say, every day she's slowly showing me something. To kind of just open my eyes more. And I think that's what mentors do. They slowly change you by opening your eyes to different experiences, different philosophies, different ways of life. And sometimes it's just a person that you consider your significant other.
Yeah. Now, if you can go back to meeting your wife until today, like just today, what's been the greatest lesson that you have learned from her?
The greatest lesson that I've learned from her? Never go to bed angry. The energy is pointless. Never carry it over to the next day. I think that's the biggest lesson she's ever taught me. Because I think when we wake up the next day, we always tell ourselves, it's a brand new day. It's a great day. I'm going to conquer today. How can you when you took yesterday's negative energy with you?
You know, I've heard that many times. And for some reason, I never learn it.
No?
Because, I learn it, but I never put it into action. Because just like what you mentioned right now, tomorrow's another day. And I have learned a lot. Whatever problems I have today, once I sleep on it, tomorrow is a new day. And I'm like, cool, it's gone. And it could be gone. But then you still have that energy, like you mentioned, that is going to dictate how the rest of your day is going. And if that day you get angry again and you go to sleep over and over and over, months, years, decades, those are some health conditions, like pretty bad ones that could happen.
It could. Just takes that one thing to just pull it out of you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That's something I gotta do more of and start.
Trust me, man, I work on it every day.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. I literally have to sit down some days and tell myself, you feel it. Something has you irritated. Something's bothering you. Say it out loud.
Yeah.
Just get it out. Get over it.
What if you don't know what is it?
Then I try to find something to help me get beyond it. That's something we all like to do. So if I can't find the source, then let's just get rid of the feeling.
Yeah. What is your go-to?
There's a million things. I'll play video games. I'll hang out with my family. I love the 3D print. I like reading, but I don't like reading non-fictional or fictional books just for leisure time. It has to be something educational and something that I can apply in real life. So I catch myself doing a lot of CEUs with regards to my profession because it keeps me sharp on my feet, but also allows me to keep up with my clients and give them the best type of quality care. So I'm kind of like a healthcare nerd. I read healthcare books and journals and research articles and what else? I used to play basketball, so sometimes I go shoot basketball every now and then.
Okay.
I love to drive. I love like a nice car ride. I'll get in the car and just drive.
Yeah.
Shopping. Yeah, I love shopping. So there's things that I can pull out. Cooking. I love to cook a good meal. You know, I grew up in the South, so cooking is a love thing. The hunger makes you want to be creative to cook something to make you feel full and you want to share that experience. So I love to cook like a really good meal. I'll get in the kitchen and just throw down, man. Just whatever.
Okay. Now that you mentioned all of these things, all these examples, now I'm trying to think of what outlet Could be because most of the time I don't know how to articulate the feeling that I'm having, but I can do something to release some of that. I enjoy it drives. At night,
Perfect time, right?
like I remember when I was still in the Marines, sometimes I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, just
I
get in the
couldn't.
car.
I got in the car, and I used to drive the coast. And I'm like, where am I going? I'm like, I don't know.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
just driving. Whenever I felt good, turn back around,
Hit back.
get in my rack, and go to bed.
I did that all the time.
That was.
I loved it.
Yeah, those are great memories.
When I was
doing
in
that.
South Carolina, I would literally just find some weird town and be like, all right, I'm going to go visit this small town. It's on the map.
Yeah,
It's a 45-minute drive.
yeah.
Let the windows down and just drive. Listen to music. Get that feeling out. All right, I'm good. And I'll drive right back. And then I can perform at the highest level because I can be focused and that thing isn't like an anchor. It's grabbing my attention.
Yeah. Man, you just dropping bombs on me. You know, I'm taking notes. Never go to bed angry. That's one that I'm gonna start doing more of. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be worked on a daily basis.
That's it.
Is there anything that I haven't asked that you would like to share?
Let's see. Yes, there's one thing I would like to share. I spoke a lot about Bright because Bright, of course, is my bread and butter right now. But as an occupational therapist, I am starting to build more in that space, and I am starting to work on developing more of my own company so I can practice more of a private OT. But for those out there who don't know much about occupational therapy, it is not physical therapy, even though most people think it is. But to kind of give you a little bit more of a clean-cut version, we are healthcare providers, and we help physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. You reach your goals that you feel like you have barriers to. So if you're out there and you feel like there's a barrier that you can't reach, a barrier that you have, and a goal that's been blocked physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, don't be afraid to connect with occupational therapists. We have so many tremendous skills that are very, very unique. Just use ourselves and life occupations to kind of help clients reach those goals. So once again, if you're someone out there and you feel like you have a barrier spiritually, physically, emotionally, psychologically, reach out to an OT. I promise you, you won't regret it.
Now that you broke it down like that, it makes a lot more sense because I knew what it was. I knew what you did as well. But it makes more sense.
That's what.
And how can they reach or find like the right OT person?
Well, since OTs kind of specialize in a lot of areas, you have mental health, you have pediatrics, you have geriatrics like with me, rehab, you have hand. Man, the list just goes on and on. Driving, wheelchair mobility, DME, there's all these different areas. If you are unsure, you can always just talk to your general family doctor or your general MD or nurse practitioner. There are a lot of OTs out there that are private. Of course, we have social media. You can always hop on Facebook and just type in occupational therapist, and you'll get.
And then Antonio's gonna come up. Yeah, I'm right here. What you need?
So there's like a general. There's kind of like a general access to occupational therapists all over the nation. I would just say that we're kind of underutilized because most people don't know that we exist, or that they think that the ones that do know we exist, they usually think we're trying to help them get a job. So there's always this misconception. Even though working is part of the occupational therapy scope of practice, most general people think when they hear occupational therapist, it's like, oh, I don't need a job. I already have one.
Yeah.
And there's so much more that we can contribute to.
Okay.
So once again, if you're out there and you have those barriers and you want to really achieve and maximize your ability to reach those goals, utilize the OT. That's why we're here.
I love it. Now, you know that I'm a financial strategist. I love finances, educating people. Just like you help a lot of veterans, I also help a lot of veterans put all their money where they're supposed to so they can keep on growing, etc. But my question to you is, What's a good financial habit that has benefited you lately?
To be honest, a good financial habit that has benefited me lately is looking at my bank statement every day. Every day. At the end of the day, about 8, 9 o'clock at night, I get on Navy Federal and I look at the transactions and I look at what I spent and I try to plan for like future days. Okay, let's say today, if I went to 7-Eleven twice today, it's like, all right, cool. You don't need to go to the convenience store or the corner store this week. And if your kids need something, figure out an alternative because I can look at the patterns. So that's kind of taught me to see these patterns that I have financially, and I can plan on how I can eliminate them. Kind of sitting in the dark and then waiting for something bad to happen or some financial situation to come upon, then I act like I had no idea. I just create a new habit. Just look at the statements every day.
Yeah.
And catch them as I can. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not saying it stops me from spending hundreds of dollars or tens or twenties of dollars a day, but what it does do is it makes me more aware and I can hold myself accountable. So if something financially happens, I'm not pointing a finger. I'm taking personal accountability.
Yeah. And that's good that you mentioned that habit, because a lot of the times, the only time that we realize that we don't have the money is when that card doesn't go through. You're like, how? Last time I checked, I had money.
And it's like Amazon, Hulu, the barbershop, getting gas. You want to buy these new shoes. Oh, everybody wants to go out to dinner. Remember that one time you sent your friend that money and they didn't send it back to you? And all these other things that you spend your money on a daily that you just kind of lose track of.
Yeah. That's a really good habit. Check your account, your statements.
Yeah, just check it.
Daily, weekly. Have like a schedule that you check.
Have something.
To know what you are spending on. Where's your money going?
Exactly. As crazy as it sounds, I was watching a podcast and it was a sports podcast, and this one athlete was talking about how his manager was stealing money from him at some point. And in my mind, I was thinking, before you became an athlete, before you became a millionaire, you had a basic bank account and you had to check that account. It's almost like a reminder. If you don't check your money every day, someone else will. So check your account.
Check your account daily. Now, my last question to you, Antonio, was actually left by my previous guest.
Okay.
Not knowing who you were, but the question, it's a surprise. It says, what is the most powerful lesson you've learned this year and how you are using it to propel you forward?
The most powerful lesson I've learned this year by far is to always bet on yourself.
What do you mean?
If there's something that you are trying to get engaged with, that you see yourself doing, that you have an envision of doing, bet on yourself. Don't count yourself out. Be your number one supporter. Be your biggest cheerleader. Put all the coins in yourself. Do everything you can do to propel yourself forward to that, because without it, who else is going to believe in you? And I've started to witness that this year as I've only been an OT for like 6 months, but in 6 months, I've witnessed how much I've accomplished by just believing in myself, by betting in myself, by being my number one fan, by being my biggest supporter. I've opened doors for myself. I've helped patients reach the goals that they wanted to reach. I've been able to attain certifications that I really didn't think could be accomplished in such a short time span. I mentor students as a brand new graduate, believe it or not. So, but that's all betting on me and believing in me and kind of putting myself first and being like, you're that guy, you can do it. No one can stop you. There's nothing that can hold you back. And if there is, there's so many different ways around it. So that would be the biggest one.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
I love it.
Because like I said, if you don't, then who's going to?
And a lot of times we're waiting for someone else.
When you should have took that first step.
Yeah. And we just end up waiting years and years and years, and no one wants to bet on ourselves because we don't even know if we can bet on ourselves.
Yep. Dude, you're the proof. You're the living proof. This whole podcast thing, you bet it on yourself.
Yeah.
No
I
one
appreciate
else. You told yourself, I think I can do this. You got all your stuff together. You put your plan into action. He checked off all the boxes, and now we're sitting here.
Yeah. And with that, I just want to say, Antonio, thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing a lot of wisdom in your story. And I know there's going to be a lot more success coming your way in the OT, in entrepreneurship. Bright is going to be huge. And there's a lot more that are going to be helped. To all the listeners, if you need any information from Antonio, if you just want to share this information to another veteran, to another family member, to another OT person, or anyone, just share it with them. It's good information. Remember to pay yourself first, and I will see you next chapter.
Dude.
That's it.
That was good.
Thanks for being part of this project to share people's journey. Like, share, and subscribe. See you next chapter.